This is what I've been hearing about the Callaway Paradym.
This driver is hotter than any driver I've hit.
This seems crazy. Longer, straighter, more forgiving.
Oh man, I really like the feel of the thing.
It's perfect.
So you got the pretty much every corner covered. It literally was the best swing of the day.
So earlier this year, I put a poll to all you subscribers asking what driver you are most excited about for this year. The majority of you said it was the Callaway Paradym. So that made me think, why is there so much hype around the Callaway Paradym? In this video, I really want to find out if it performs and if it's a driver that I'd recommend to all of you. So let's find out. We're about a minute into this video and some of you are probably already sold on the Paradym. And that's okay. Some of you might be window shopping. And what I want you window shoppers to know is that there's three different heads of the Paradym. There's the Paradym X, and the Paradym Triple Diamond. What I want to do in this video is just make it easier for you guys to understand which head is probably best for your game. So let's get into it. The first driver I'm going to go over is the Paradym. This is the same driver that Garrett from Good Good is playing. If you're over the age of 30, you have no idea who Good Good is. They're basically some of the biggest golf YouTubers, and I want you guys to tell Garrett in the comment of his videos that Brandon from New 9 will take him down in any game that he wants to play. In all seriousness, they're actually really sick and their videos are awesome, but I would love to play Garrett, so tell Garrett that he has to play Brandon from New 9. Back to the Paradym. I'm just gonna start hitting it and I'm gonna tell you kind of about the specs as I go. You guys know the drill. We got a TrackMan Pro V1 RCT ball. We're in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Elevation is set at 3,400 feet. Let's go. If you guys have seen some of my videos, my traditional miss is to the right. So I put this head on a draw bias. It's a 9-degree head and I'm using one of their stock shaft options. This is a hazardous black 6.5. It's a really good shaft and it's actually one that I was fit into, so I am quite familiar with it. Let's go. First hit with the Paradym. I told you my miss is to the right. Let's see if I can straighten that out. But first thoughts, getting 121 club head speed with my first swing of this session is disgusting. 176 ball speed is definitely on the top end of how hard I can hit the ball. 2,700 spin is super ideal. 317 carry, 341 total, a little offline. First cut, no problem. Let's keep going. Oh God. That was definitely a miss hit. That was kind of a smother Healy hit. Still carrying 299, 323 total. Spin was up, but that's in play. So let's talk about forgiveness. So far, if that's the miss hit, I'll take that all day, every day. This thing sounds really good. I'm a big sound guy and I really like it. The feel is pretty soft. This might be one of the softest faces that I've hit. It's not tinny by any means. It's a very solid punch. This reminds me, sound-wise, of the TSR lineup. What's interesting is both of those drivers have a 3D etched face. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. The face, there's no milling, it looks like it, but it's actually 3D etched. So far out of the gate, I am enjoying this Paradym. It felt a little low, it's okay. Who is the Paradym for? It's their mid-launch, mid-spin driver head. So someone as good as Garrett on Good Good could play this driver. Some tour players will be hitting this driver, and then some 15 handicappers could be hitting this driver. So I would say that this driver covers the widest spectrum. After this driver, I'm gonna hit the most forgiving and then the least forgiving driver. So we'll see in the data how this Paradym stacks up versus those two. What I really like about this first Paradym is the movable weight system. I love having a weight system to move between a draw and fade bias. Like I said, the majority of my misses are hanging out to the right. So if I can just go on the range, put this to the draw setting, I love that idea. Now this is the only head that does that. The other two don't have this same track. So if you're a tinkerer, kind of like me, this might be a good option for you. That felt crushed. There we go. Yes, I would take that every single time. Let's take a look at the data. Okay, so how I test these drivers is I get 10 hits and then I'm gonna take a look at all of my numbers. Those 10 hits felt relatively good. Looking at my dispersion, I had some go left and some go right. So I'm not sure if because I had that draw bias on, that I was actually smothering a couple of my balls, but my average miss was kind of a big flare to the right. So let's take a look at my averages. Club speed was right up there, 119, that's a fast ball. 174 ball speed, 2300 spin is like super ideal. So far out of the gate, the head for me is a really good head because it's only spinning at about 2300 RPM. My launch I thought was a little low, but my carry and my total are disgusting. Average carry 309, 340 total, like give me a break. Let's look at my dispersion to see how tight of drives I had. So I would say distance-wise is very consistent, right? So you could tell that I lost 2, so 2 I'm kind of OB, but the majority of them are within reason of the fairway. When I would be concerned is if I had like 3 balls down here, 3 balls up here, some over here. I had almost an even split. 4 left of the line, 6 right of the line, and I had 3, almost 4 that are, you know, as close to the line. So I would say first impressions that this is definitely a good driver. So I'm believing into what I had heard previously about this Paradym lineup. So far, I think this was a great test. Let's see how those other 2 drivers compare.
Today's video is brought to you by Netcoins. Buying and selling crypto is now easier than ever for North Americans with Netcoins. Check out Netcoins.com or Netcoins.ca to check them out and download the mobile app.
So of the 3 driver head options, they actually all have 3 different shapes. Callaway describes that first Paradym as a modern head. So I'll put up a picture of all 3 heads and you guys can try to decide which one is their modern head. The next head we're looking at is the Paradym X. This is their most forgiving, highest launch driver head. Something new they've done this year for all of their heads is they've introduced what they call a 360 carbon chassis. Basically what that means is they are moving weight throughout the driver to increase the MOI. Looks wise, we've lost that movable weight system at the back. There's only 1 weight, and this sets up at a draw setting. This is great for any of you guys that miss it to the right, like my friend Brent could definitely benefit from a driver with a draw bias. Looks wise, I think I actually prefer how these Paradyms look in person. When I saw them online, when I looked at the sole of the driver, it looked very like turtle shelly or marbly, and I didn't think I liked the look of that. When it's not under the lights, it's very faint. When it does hit the light, you can see a little bit more of that turtle, but I think I personally prefer looking at it in person than I did online. Something I really like is right on top of the crown is this little 1-inch matte line. I think when I set that up to a dress, it has really good separation between the blue carbon and then just the front of the driver face. So I think actually they look really good in person.
Something I'm trying to decide with these Callaway heads is which one of these drivers is going to move on to my driver bracket. I want to find the best driver of 2023, and I want your guys' input on the type of video you want to watch. Last year I did a bracket with multiple videos, but I want to know would you guys rather watch just one video with every driver or multiple head-to-heads. So comment below the best format you guys want to watch my 2023 driver bracket.
Let it rip. Based on my first couple hits, I would say that this Paradym X is not geared towards a player like myself. How would I describe my golf game? I carry a scratch index. I'm actually just barely plus right now. I play a lot, I play competitive golf, and I still want to challenge Garrett. So if you guys follow Good, tell Garrett that I'm coming for him. I'm noticing so far a very consistent ball flight. We'll see that a little bit later in my dispersion, but I think it's a very consistent driver. It's not going both ways on me, which I like so far. So I would say that if you want a forgiving driver, this could be a top runner. The biggest difference I'm noticing with the X compared to the Paradym is the trajectory. I'm getting this way higher into the air. So if you're a golfer that has trouble getting the ball airborne, this X is probably the best bet for you. I think you would anticipate a draw bias driver to create a draw. So my swing is either dog shit right now, or I'm just leaving it wide open. Okay, let's find a line here. Let's see if I can turn it over. Even though this is their most forgiving head, this driver's still going a mile. Like, it's actually a really long ball. Sheesh. I find for whatever reason when I'm trying to really go at it, this thing performs like a low spinning player's head. That last drive, for example, my club speed was probably near the highest it's been since we started, 121, 180 ball speed, 2100 spin, carry 328, 358 total. That's weird. Like, maybe I changed my mind that I could dial this to my settings.
That's crazy.
This is your friendly reminder of the day to drink lots of water. Good for you. Okay, let's look at the data. Consistent. Even though this is a draw bias driver, the majority of my hits were going to the right. Versus when I had the weight on the draw setting, I was able to turn the ball over easier, where the X, I was actually just consistently to the right side. So, compared the two, I was swinging it actually slightly slower. 119 with the X, 0.3, 119.9 with the Paradym. Ball speed went down a little bit, spin went up. Spin went up almost 400 RPM. I was getting it higher, so it for sure is a higher launching driver. And carry actually went up, probably because I was hitting it a little bit higher. I gained 2 yards in carry, but I lost total distance, and that's probably because it's spinning more. Let's look at the dispersion. Very tight dispersion, but I noticed a big difference in my yardage, right? So remember my last driver, the Paradym, was all kind of along the same line, whereas the X, there's a wider variance in how far the ball was going. Some I was getting kind of airborne, and they were definitely spinning higher. So again, for someone like me, based on those characteristics, I probably would still lean towards the Paradym, but overall it felt really good. So I would say that it sounds the same and feels the same as the Paradym. So that was really cool. Callaway describes this head as a stretched back shape. Again, I'll put that picture up and you guys to decide which one is the stretched back driver. A little piece of technology I haven't talked about yet is the jailbreak AI technology. Basically, it's just supposed to keep the ball more stable and increase ball speed. I definitely noticed an increase in ball speed, even compared to last year's Callaways. Like, these things are pretty hot. They're going far. So I think whatever they're doing with the jailbreak is definitely working. This last driver is the Paradym Triple Diamond. This is the one I'm most intimidated by. Last year's Triple Diamond was probably the hardest driver to hit out of every driver of 2022. The one thing that eases my mind a little bit is Callaway basically combined last year's LS model and the Triple Diamond. So it's still a low launch, low spin, but it should be a little bit more forgiving than last year's Triple Diamond. This is what John Rahm plays. This is what Xander Schauffele plays. So I'm definitely nowhere near that caliber of golfer. So let's see what type of results I get hitting the Triple Diamond. Right away, I noticed that it's smaller. This is only 450 cc's. The other drivers are 460. The crown still looks the same. Again, other just than it's smaller. We'll see what we can do here. So the weights in this driver, we don't have that track. We actually have two weights and they are movable. There's a 14 gram and a 2 gram. The way I have it set up right now is I have the 14 behind the face and the 2 in the back. It definitely feels different. I think because there is more weight up front, it's even more muted and kind of more solid. The first two drivers felt very soft, where this feels a little bit more rigid and tough, and I think it's just because I have that 14 weight right behind the face. Like, that might be my best drive since I got in here. Callaway says this is supposed to be the easiest to shot shape. Maybe I take back easiest. People that like to shape the ball should get along with the Triple Diamond. It feels so good. So out of the gate, this year's Triple Diamond is night and day difference from last year's. I'm getting along with it. I'm hitting it with decent dispersion. It's going far and it feels good. I kind of feel good about myself right now. That one I caught on the top of the face. Yeah. Healy. Okay, that was fun. Let's look at this data. So when the Callaway rep dropped off this new Paradym, I was asking him what he wanted us to tell you guys is different. The forged carbon is the biggest change in this Paradym. Basically with forged carbon, they can just shape it differently than if you were to stack the carbon. They actually worked with Lamborghini to work on this forged carbon, so that's what's new for this year in the Paradym. Okay, let's take a look at our Triple Diamond. That is a consistent ball flight. I've been going to the right all day, right? So I was still going to the right with the X, going to the right with the Triple Diamond, and the Paradym is the one that I was kind of spraying in. Let's look at my averages. Club speed is way up there, 121 compared to 119. So I picked up just about 2 miles an hour in club head speed. Ball speed went up, so I'm definitely hitting it the hardest. Spin went down compared to the X, but I think it's actually higher. It's higher than the Paradym, which is interesting because it's supposed to be their lowest spinning head. That's different. Carry 316 with the X, I was 311. Paradym was 309. So I'm carrying it the furthest. Total 340 versus 333 and 340. So I would say it's closest to the Paradym, but the dispersion is way different, right? Let's look at the top view of my dispersion. I would say this is a pretty tight session. I would be confident working with a fitter to either change the driver settings or change the shaft to get this a little closer to the center, but much like the X, I don't have that left miss, right? So I would say the grouping of the X is further dispersion than the Triple Diamond. Look at these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 are all within a couple yards of each other. Sure, it's a little off the fairway, but again, I'm not doing a full fitting. This is just my first test right out of the gate. Although the distance with the Callaway Paradym seemed to be the most consistent, where if I look at the Triple Diamond, again, there's still a bit of a gap. What I know now hitting this Triple Diamond is it's a lot easier to hit than last year. It sounds just slightly different and feels a little bit more firmer than the other two. But overall, I'm quite impressed with this Callaway Paradym lineup. Like, I'm really impressed with it. So is the hype real? Yeah, I would definitely say the hype's real. Based on my results, the Paradym Triple Diamond is gonna be the driver going into my driver bracket. If you wanna see how I did last year's driver bracket, it's right here. I really need you guys to comment in the comments below how you want us to format it. Should we do it the same as last year, or should we mix it up? What would you guys want to watch? These videos are for you guys. I would love to hear about it.
Getting very, very sleepy.